Climate change has been one of the most discussed topics across the globe. Its effects have been felt adversely in Africa, including Zimbabwe. Recently, Zimbabwe pledged to reduce its gas emissions by 40% so as to try and minimize the catastrophic effects of climate change. I'm your host, Sheron Tazvivinga, and to discuss more on the impact of climate change on rural women, I'm joined by WILF founder, Edwick Madzimure. Welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you, Sheron, for having me.
Ms. Madzimure, what is WILF Zimbabwe? I'm sure of yours would want to know what it stands for.
WILF stands for Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. It was established in Zimbabwe in 2017. Our main objectives as an organization is to ensure that there is gender mainstreaming, to ensure that women are participating in all spheres of life. How do we do that? We critically analyze all the root causes of the discrimination of women, and we try to address them.
Currently, climate change is one of the most global topical issues. What is the impact of climate change on rural women?
Okay, when you are looking at the impact of climate change on rural women, I think it is important to note how it manifests. So firstly, I can discuss about perennial droughts. Yes, we've got floods, but in our district, we like the Zombe, Slovela district, in the Midlands province, we are actually experiencing perennial droughts. And because of these perennial droughts, rural women are mostly affected, because I understand that, their main source of livelihood is agriculture. So which means that their livelihood has been affected when we don't have water, because agriculture relies on the availability of water. That's number one. And then number two, you look at when we're addressing water scarcity, it's not only used for agriculture, but they also use water for their domestic duties. So if there is no water, or maybe if the rivers and streams are drying up, it means they have to walk for long distances in search of water.
I understand that WILF Zimbabwe is working on a project that focuses on the impact of climate change on rural women. What are some of the causes of climate change?
When we are looking at the causes of climate change, basically it's how we interact with the environment. It is how we use the resources that we have in our environment. Focusing on the Midlands province, for instance, I can talk about the mining activities that we are conducting in most of the districts. You find out that most miners, they cut down trees in order for them to timber their shafts. Some miners are actually involved in alluvial mining. Alluvial mining actually contributes to the drying up of rivers and streams. So even women, they spend most of their times fetching firewood to use for cooking. So how we interact with our environment really contributes to climate change, because at the end of the day, we cause air pollution. We can also talk about industrialization, overpopulation, because if there's overpopulation, then you'll find out that there are more people that are using resources, and the resources will be limited.
Mrs. Madzimure, from what you have said, it is now evident that rural women are the ones who bear the brunt of climate change. So given such circumstances, what are some of the mitigation measures that have been put to place, and what are some of the mitigation measures that need to be put in place so that we minimize the impact of climate change on rural women?
After realizing that most rural women are adversely affected by the effects of climate change, we decided to roll out a project on the training of biogas digesters into various rural wards. Why are biogas digesters important for most rural women? They are important because firstly, they will have less time spent on fetching firewood, and if they have access to bigger biogas digesters, you realize that they can have lighting in their homes, they can use it for cooking, they can even use it for refrigerators. Biogas digesters do not really need a lot of manual labor, such as compared to fetching firewood. They just need to collect cow dung, and then the cow dung is used to produce the gas. So the process of just, cow dung is everywhere in rural areas, and cow dung also contributes to climate change, to producing gases that that really contribute to climate change. So by using cow dung in the biogas digesters, we are actually mitigating some of the causes of climate change. And then they can also use the waste from the biogas digesters, the waste that comes out of, they can use it for their gardens, they can use it as fertilizers for it's organic fertilizer, so it can be used in their fields. So that's a project that we are rolling out. What we are doing, we are actually offering the technical support with partnership with EMA, Kwekwe District, and their provincial offices. And last week we also partnered with Mlezo Agricultural College, where women from Chundura, from some wards from Chundura, were trained. So these are some of the mitigation strategies that we are offering to rural women, and it is our appeal that maybe the government can really take up that project and avail more biogas digesters in the rural wards, because these women, they really need these biogas digesters because they've got so much benefits. Firstly, we are saving the environment, and secondly, we are actually giving women more time to participate in other activities like income generating activities, instead of them spending half of their time fetching firewood. And I must highlight that fetching of firewood is not an easy task, and in some wards it's actually contributing to conflicts, because maybe if I stay in ward 2, our area no longer have big trees that most rural people need for cooking. I'll go to ward 5, and when I go to ward 5, there's a conflict, because the people of ward 5 will be telling you to go back to your ward because you can't come to their ward to cut down trees, since they are also relying on the trees for the use for their domestic use. So biogas digesters actually contribute to conflict prevention in the rural wards. So that is what we are doing in offering mitigation strategies to climate change, and actually also ensuring that we less the burden that is being faced by rural women.
Just out of interest, you say that you've recently initiated a program that is meant to minimize the effects of climate change. How many women have you trained?
On 6 October, we were in Sisombe, Jombe, where we trained about 50 women. We were in partnership with the EMA officials from the Kwekwe District offices and the provincial offices. On 16 October, we were in Chundura at Mlezo Agricultural College. 50 women were trained, and at Mlezo Agricultural College, the training was conducted by the lecturers from Mlezo Agricultural College. On 23 October, we'll be in Ward 2. I can't say offhand how many women will attend, but the Councillor Nari has indicated that the whole ward would be attending. So we are actually expecting more women to attend the training that we are conducting on 23 October. And after this, in November, we are still planning to have a vocational training. We'll take maybe 2 women per ward from all the wards in Kwekwe District, and then they will be trained at Mlezo Agricultural College for the whole week. Then they can have, they'll be given certificates. So in a way, they will be like trainers. It will be like a training of trainers. These women are now supposed to go back to their wards to carry out the training on biogas digesters, the digester plants into their wards. Why are we thinking about that project? Why are we even considering it? We realize that most of the trainings that we are conducting, we are having male trainers only that are training women, which means that we've got less women that are knowledgeable on how to use biogas digesters, of which when we started the interview, I highlighted that as an organization, we want to see the mainstreaming of women. We want to see the inclusion of women in all the projects that we are doing and in our societies. So we actually make sure that we have more women that are trained on biogas digesters so that they can at least go back to their communities and train. It is also our hope not to end by just giving technical support. We also want these women to have the biogas digester plants into their communities, into their wards. So we'll actually do advocacy to the government, to civil society organizations, to all the stakeholders that are relevant to this cause, so that they can build the biodigester plants in various communities, especially in the rural wards.
COVID-19 has actually impacted on everyone. despite the fact that they are from rural areas or in the urban areas. But in the case of rural women, how have they been affected, given that they already have suffered some of the effects of climate change? How has COVID-19 worsened the existing challenges?
Okay, COVID-19 actually worsened the situation of rural women. Like you highlighted earlier on, that they were already facing the devastating effects of climate change. Women, there is now a great shift from agriculture to artisanal mining. Go to Zombe, go to Slovela, you realize that you find more women on mining sites, either vending their wares to miners or sifting for gold. But those are very dangerous environments to be in, because you realize there are most cases of harassment of women, sexual abuse, rape, and some of those cases, they go unreported. Because imagine a married woman, she is there vending her wares and she has been abused or she has been verbally harassed. Can she go and tell her husband what has happened, and tomorrow do you expect that she'll be allowed to go back there? So most women are just suffering in silence. So all these are effects of climate change. Because
unfortunately, we've come to the end of today's program. Thank you, Mrs. Madzimure, for taking your time to be with us. From me, your host, Sheron Tazvivinga, and the crew behind the scenes, goodbye.